Well, hey everybody, how are we doing? We are at the very end of chapter 2. The very end of it is it's an interesting one because it isn't super hard, but it is also can be. We are having to create proportions from diagrams or pictures, or sometimes it's a combination of a word problem and a picture. So we're going to show you again how we solve two different types of proportion problems that are fairly easy. We are going to have to learn from another blast from our past, going all the way back to elementary school. Remember the butterfly method, or you may also know it as cross multiplication. All right, not too bad. So first problem here, our first example, what we need to do is we need to cross multiply these. It helps us quickly get rid of these fractions. Could we use the multiplication property of equality and multiply both sides by their common denominator or something? Yeah, sure, we could do that. But if we just cross multiply, we end up with what, 250 and cross multiply the other side, we end up with 15h. Then we divide both sides by 15. And the 15s cancel. We're left with an h. Well, this is going to have to reduce by somehow. Okay, so I can see that, look, it ends in a 0, ends in a 5, so it's going to, they should both contain a 5, right? So 5 goes into 15 3 times. And then you had the harder part there, 250. So 250 divided by 5 gives us 50. Great. So this is the reduced fraction, 50 over 3. If you have one of the Casio FX 260 calculators, all you would have had to do is hit 250, the ABC button, 15, hit equal. It breaks it into a mixed number for you. Then you can go ahead and do Shift ABC, and it would give you 50 over, or 50 in that little baby backwards L3. Again, I'm giving that specifically because our class for our EOC test at our school uses only the Casio FX 260 calculator. Otherwise, figure it out with a regular calculator. It's not so bad. Here we go again. Here is another proportion. So this fraction, numerator is in proportion to a denominator, numerator in proportion to a denominator. We can cross multiply. All right, so I'm going to cross multiply. We have 7 c plus 1 equals 4 not plus, it's minus 2. My mouse is doing its little trick thing again. Now, if we look at this, guys, we should be noticing to ourselves, oh, Mr. C, I can see that we are going to have to distribute. So 7 times C is a 7C. 7 times 1 is a 7. 4 times C is a 4C. 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. We need to bring all of our numbers over this way. So minus 7, minus 7. So 8 and a negative 8 and a negative 7 give me a negative 15. We also need to bring the C's over to the other side, because all of our variables stay to the left. Our constants will stay to the right. Seven minus 4 is 3. And hopefully we should see this answer already coming. So C is going to equal, well, negative 15 divided by 3 is a negative 5. Great, not so bad. Now here comes, you get to see some of the Mr. C original artwork. This is what makes this hard. Let's say this is a river here, okay? There's a river. And this is a park. So this is a park on a river. It's a triangular shaped park that has a walkway that's 20 yards long that cuts it in a piece. And then from the beginning of the park to the walkway is 50 yards. From the walkway to the end of the park is 70. They want to build a new road on the very, very most eastern side of this park. They want to know how long it is. So this is when we're going to use similar figures, okay? Similar figures to set up a proportion. Maybe you can see it, maybe you can't, but this is what one big gigantic triangle. It's a right triangle, right? And within it is another triangle, and these all have the same angles. This is a 90-degree angle. That's a 90-degree angle. This angle they both share, and then this angle is the same as this angle because they're both intersected down here at the base by a 90-degree angle. So because this is two similar triangles, we can set up two little proportions that are set equal to each other to solve for our missing piece. We could do, let's do the bases will be on the top and the sides will be on the denominator. Okay, so the top is the numerator. We have what, 50? And this one here, oh, don't get tricked here, right? So this is the base for this one triangle. What's the base for this whole triangle? We have to add these two pieces together, right? So we have 120 here. Now the side, the small triangle is 20. And we do not know what this piece is, so we'll call this S for the missing side. So now we have to go ahead and start to multiply. Okay, so 20 times 120 is 2,400. S times 50 gives me a 50S. And our last piece is, well, divide both sides by 50. See, once we get the hang of setting up that proportion, it's not a big deal. It's not that hard. You're going to do a lot of this in geometry. So it's kind of like a precursor to it. And again, you just have to reduce that fraction there. So 2,400 divided by 50 gives us 48. And we are done. 48 yards. Don't forget, if they give you a problem and it's in units, keep your units. So this missing part here would be, the new road is going to be 48 yards. Here's another one you can do. So here is Tall Sally. Tall Sally is in a park over here. See the beautiful trees and the little birds, and they give you all these things to distract you from what's going on. But she's in a park, and she sees this big obelisk or a big monument in the park. And the sun is shining. And the rays of the sun are casting shadows across you. And she notices that, well, Sally is 6 foot tall and her shadow is 2 feet long. The monument, we don't know how tall it is, and she's wondering that. But she notices that the shadow there is 10 feet tall. So what we have to do is set up this proportion. So if she is 6 feet tall and her shadow is 2 feet tall, we have no idea how tall this monument is, but we do know it's casting a 10-foot shadow. Again, we can what? Cross multiply. Cross multiply. We get 60 equals 2x. This should be a super easy one-step problem. The hard part here was setting it up. not solving it. These cancel and give us an x. And 60 divided by 2 is 30. Again, we just have to set these problems up correctly, guys. So again, you're making a fraction. The numerator, pick what you want. Numerator is going to be the height. So there. What's the height of the similar figure? Oh, you don't know. So you put a variable. The shadow is 2 under the girl. Shadow of the other figure, which we don't know the height, 10. Cross multiply and solve. And it's as easy as that. Guys, that's the end of chapter 2. We will be having our test this week. I hope everybody's doing their homework. See you next week.